I'm going to share my screen. All right. Today is March 23rd, 2025, Strategy Task Force, Session 11. My name is Louise Campbell-Anthony. I'm the affiliate director here with the Peacekeeping Task Force. And we want to welcome you all to our strategy session. We have a new addition, Emalee, on California. Can you pronounce your last name for me, Emalee?
It's Wagy, long A, hard G.
Wagy. All right. All right. So welcome to our team here, and anybody who's here who's representing their state, you can put your name in the chat and the state you're on. We already got Emalee, she's the newcomer. Anybody else who would like to be part of the strategy task force, you can put your name and your state on the chat there. I will read it and get back to you later. We do have Bart did send me a email. He is bogged down with work, as we all are. So that's why that's the reason for his absence. But he will get back to us when he is available. So we appreciate that update from Bart. Bart did a fabulous job on the education piece he did for Oklahoma, that he opened it up to all state assemblies who wanted to use it. It is a PowerPoint presentation. I think he has two parts to it. If you don't have access to it, just email me later if you want access to it, because it's on the ICE drive, or it's going to be on the ICE drives, but for the International Outreach Think Tank. So you can get access to it there. All right, so going into our agenda for today, I want to first go over the assignment that I handed out to any volunteers who wanted to choose one of these colors or two of these colors on this map to reach out to those state assemblies to see if they are going to be participating in the Resurgence Project. What stages we have: phase 1, 1A, and 2. So we wanted to know which one of those that the assembly was going to participate in, or if they're not going to participate at all. We wanted to know that so we can kind of streamline our efforts here. So I had a volunteer, Richard. Richard volunteered to pick two of the areas, postal area 4 and postal area 6. I'm gonna put him on the spot a little bit right now and have him go ahead and report on what he's found out and how it's going for him, and how he's doing his outreach to these assemblies. And as you're listening to him, you think about if you want to pick two of these colors to do the same thing. Go ahead, Richard.
Thank you. I would like to say simply that, yeah, I didn't get a chance to update from a map like I wanted to for this to color correspond to what I've gotten in responses so far. I'm gonna try and get that done soon. But yeah, I reached out to Region 4 and Region 6, and of the 8 states that I've reached out to, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
I can hear you.
Okay. To the 8 states that I've reached out to, I've gotten responses from 3 of them. Ohio and Kentucky both responded and said, we're going to have to refer this to somebody else to get you the information and correspond with you on this subject. Well, Kentucky said they were going to present the idea to their assembly and see what actions they wanted to take with it, and they'd get back to me. And then Ohio said that it was going to be referred to their chairperson, Lisa Schaefer, and she would respond and coordinate with me when she was ready. So that's the last I heard from them, and that was a couple weeks ago. And then I heard back from Nebraska, and they have decided to currently not participate in the project at this time. They said that it's not within their realm of possibilities right now for their organization or cost-effective strategies.
Thank you. Thank you, Richard. So if you wanted to pick any of the two colors, so the 4 and 6, so purple is the 4. This one is the 4, and 6 is this one. That's 6, yeah, that's 6, this one right here. So any of the other colors are up for grabs. So what we're trying to do with this assignment is just trying to get a feel of which assemblies are ready to engage, so that we can target our efforts to helping those assemblies engage. So any of you who want to volunteer to pick some other colors, to go ahead and reach out to them so we can see who we have on board. Let me know, put that in the chat. Okay, so addressing our weaknesses. Now, I drafted up the session 10 interim report. You should have gotten the session 10 interim report last Sunday. And in here, I confirmed some of the things that Anna, I highlighted some of the things that Anna confirmed. So I did finally get a meeting with her to start going over the different components of the research project so we can get to the point where we can launch it. It's taken, well, I started on this in February of 2024. And since then, it's been developing until what you see now. And she's finally had the time to kind of meet with me so we can go through all the little components that it's developed into and fine tune it and get it launched, get it ready to be launched. So this topic I'm talking about is our weaknesses. So one of the weaknesses that I see we have as an organization, and this is my opinion, is that I didn't see where within our organization that the head of us, the head of our government, was working toward a collaborated effort to get the recognition as our government. And that's what the Resurgence Project was, or is, designed to do, to get the recognition as the America's only government. But I didn't know where to go or who it was, who the person or people were that was working on that. So that's how this Resurgence Project came about, because I wanted to work on that. But when I started working on this, the people who made the decisions on if I could do this or if I could not do that was not accessible, which was the Fiduciary was one of them, but I didn't know who else other than her. We didn't have anybody else when she wasn't available. So now I finally got her ear, and she's working with me to try to get it to a point where we can launch it. And so she did go over the execution video that I put together, the overview video. And if you haven't watched it yet, go ahead and watch that. And I did that for the benefit of everybody, but especially for her, because she has so much on her plate. And I need her attention. I need to maximize the little time that I have with her. So I put that together. So she did look at that. She said the plan was well put together. She said, yes, we ultimately do have to take to the stage and announce who we are. She did confirm that the public law did outlaw birth registrations. So we're on the mark with that. So we're going to move and develop that out. She did verify and confirm that our public law did outlaw Federal Reserve note credit monopoly. So we're on the mark with that. We're going to move with that and develop that. Now we're going to have to, but she also did say this, which I was trying to see if I can get around this, but we can't get around this. The detailed research of the project is 200 pages. It used to be 300 pages, but we narrowed it down to 200 pages. But she said she will have to go through the 200 pages. If she's going to have to defend it, she's got to look at it. So we won't be able to launch until she looks at that. Depending on how fast we're able to move through the edits and everything will help me to determine if I need to pull that piece of the puzzle back a little bit and kind of speed it out as we get it done, so that we can go ahead and launch without having to look at those 200 pages. It depends on how fast we get through the 200 pages. So that's where that is right now. She did confirm that claimyourinheritance.info is a perfect, accurate name for what we're doing. So for the website, it's fine. And she has agreed to meet with me, at least for now. We're just taking it 1 week at a time. So we've had a meeting yesterday, and we're going to have another meeting Friday. So see if we can get through these through these components. So that was one of the weaknesses that I saw in our organization, is there wasn't a head that I could go to get this project off the ground. So now I finally got to the point where I got her attention and we can get closer and closer to getting it launched. So in the interim report, I listed several weaknesses that I saw within our organization that strategically I wanted to address. I wanted you all to let me know if you all see any weaknesses within our organization as the government that we can strategize and address. Because as we go out there in the public, saying who we are, it's the weaknesses that's going to be our downfalls. So we need to recognize what they are and address them. Yes, Emalee?
I just want to say that I do have a lot to share with you, and I think that this is the appropriate time to do it, or this is the appropriate call. I have a lot on the local level, and the thing that we were missing before was you. When first we started with the town hall, with the bond audits, which I'm not really sure if you're familiar with any of that. So I do want to share that, but I want to hear you go through the rest of this, because I love that you know the weaknesses.
Well, to follow up with what you're saying there, Emalee, one of the weaknesses is that our government, foundationally, is the counties. That's where our government, our sovereignty sits. That's our highest power, is the counties. So when I'm thinking of restoring my government, I'm actually thinking about my counties, where the highest form of government is. We're focused on our state assemblies because of the international protection that they have for our counties. So yes, we need to focus on that, but not at the detriment of our counties. And so I'm thinking, I asked 2 counties to help me with this, to help with spearheading the restoration of the United States, our counties. And the weakness here is we're not collected. We're not in a synergistic, and the word Anna used was synergism, and I was thinking the same word. We're not in a synergistic bond with each other, seeing and recognizing the power, the strength that we have in the numbers. So working toward that is what we're going to be doing with the county spearheading that. And one way I want to do that is to create, and I need permission, is to create a Congress and training group. Congress and training meaning ultimately all of our counties have to come together in a Congress under the United States. Ultimately, all of our state assemblies have to come together in a Congress in the United States of America. I used to think that there was only one Congress, but now I understand from reading all of Anna's articles is every entity or every organization had its own Congress. So the United States had the Continental Congress, and the Federation of States, or the States of the Union, had the States of the Union in Congress, what they call in Congress assembled. And then the States of America, or the Confederation, had their Congress assembled. And then the American Federal Republic, they had their Congress. The British Territorial had their Congress. The Municipal had their Congress. But what the Congress represents is all of those member states or member bodies coming together, bonding together under the common cause and having a business meeting. Let's take care of business as us collaborating on a common cause, so we can project ourselves, these many people together, projecting ourselves with that type of strength. And that's what I'm wanting to do with this, with choosing those county assemblies that I recognize. And then I got one state assembly that I'm thinking about to spearhead the United States of America, that Congress over there. But yeah, that's one of the weaknesses I see that I want to address. And that's one of the ways that I'm thinking of addressing it, but I would have to get permission from Anna to be able to do that. And now that I have her ear, I can put all these ideas on the table so we can see which ones we want to move with.
I hear
Any,
you.
Other thing I'm just gonna highlight, I don't like to go through if I sent out an interim report, I just expected you all to read it and send me back yeses or nos or more comments through email. I generally don't want to go through the whole thing again here, but I want to highlight this other thing. Their Louisiana Assembly contacted me, was saying how the RUSA organization was contacting and calling people saying, join us, we're taking back our government, basically. We need to come together, and the Congresses to address the idea of the Congresses will address that, because they're coming together as this big organization saying, hey, we are America's government, but we got a message for them, right? So we need to get this project launched, boots on the ground in the counties, and letting them know what's going on. Introducing ourselves as who we are. I want to push, I don't know how fast we can move, but push this forward as much as we can. So if we get the Congresses and training going, that can get that collaboration. We need to understand where we're headed. I think of how we're organized now. I see us heading for seatment, it's like, I call it a vacuum. When I'm looking at everybody and all the assemblies assembling, the state assemblies assembling, I'm trying to see, well, where are we headed? Where we headed is our government restored. Well, in order to get our government restored, our counties have to be restored. Anna says the state assemblies and the county assemblies are being populated at the same time. I want to maximize on that effort. If we're populating at the same time, let's organize it at the same time. But nobody was there focusing on that aspect, and that's where I came in.
Can I speak to that for a minute?
Yes.
So I helped to assemble California in 2019. We started in 2018, and it has gone through many, many splits and tears since then. But I really in 2020, we all figured, you serve 2 years on the state assembly. Every adult, that's able, every state national serves about 2 years, because it's a lot of work, long hours, no pay. And then I started focusing on my counties, because what I see with the state is that if you can't go out into your county and have a town hall meeting and meet 15 or, a whole jural assembly of people in your own county, you're not going to be able to participate at the state level. Like, I know why we need the state level, but that's a lot of really hard work being put towards the state level. When I see people that are assembling the state that will not go out and assemble their counties. So there's 38 counties. They have since switched back, I guess, in California to the original counties. But I had people in all 38 counties out of 52, I think is what it was, that all want to participate, that are not into the California Assembly. It's just when they get there, there's no town hall, there's no outreach for them. So working at the county level is really where it's at for me. Going into the courts, talking with public officials, which is why the video platform, because people need to be protected, not just us, but our public servants need to be protected, because they have no idea what they're doing, and the us versus them does not work. It needs to be all of us together protecting each other, because otherwise who's going to do it? And then once you can do that, once you can say, oh, well, I've been out in my county, my local law enforcement knows who I am. The people at the courthouse know who I am. We interact on this level. Now we start building relationships wherein we can build on them. And then we go back to the state level and say, hey, well, here we have a quorum, or here we have a jural assembly of people, and they're ready to. So your launch, that's what I wanted. I wanted the launch so bad in the beginning. I was like, we need to launch the peace flag, the peace campaign, the Pulse project, but you really need enough people who know what you're talking about to get there. So
yeah, the county is the grassroots level where everything happens. One weakness that I see is the people don't, our assemblies aren't understanding that the recognition that we need has to come from all the people. The people have to recognize us as their government. Not only do our subcontractors have to recognize us, but the everyday people in the little counties have to be the ones to say, yeah, that's my government. And yeah, they're protecting me. They have to vouch for us in a way. They have to vouch for us that we're the bona fide government that represents them. And I didn't see that part, that element either. And I think that when we said we are a family, that's how our government is. But the way that I see a family connection is on a county level. I don't see that on a state level. The state to me would be extended family. And one of the county assembly coordinators was talking to me like, our family meets and, we meet every day. We talk about this, that's what needs to happen on the county level. In the town hall meeting, in the public meeting. I was thinking the other day, can a state assembly have a town hall meeting without the county?
No.
How does state assembly have a town hall meeting?
We used to have it. I would like to have a 24-hour town hall channel so everybody can be there talking. We would go for hours. Some of our best work came from our town hall.
Mm-hmm.
And they told me, well, they didn't tell me I couldn't restart town hall back up, but they said I was going to have to jump through or go through a bunch of protocol that, which was another reason for the video project.
Okay. Richard?
Thank you. I know something we've been discussing here on Illinois is we feel that as an assembly, because eventually we will have to have regular physical meetings, even if it's only once a year or every 6 months or whatever, to work out the business of being the government. So we've decided, we started planning for a physical meeting, an annual physical meeting this year. We're just going to have another committee meeting on it this Wednesday to discuss some more points of it. And then hopefully at the beginning of April, present it to the whole assembly for some votes and opinions. But yeah, we feel that we're going to have to start planning, because we put out an annual calendar of when all of our monthly meetings are. And we should be meeting at least one time physically as a group to do the business of the assembly. We've also been discussing other smaller meetings like town hall meetings in counties to do both educate each other and others as outreach and inreach to try and stir some people, like I've said before, who are not active but are still on the state. I yield.
Okay. Yeah, so that's why when I started in February, when I saw some of these weaknesses, I just said, I'm going to do it because this is what needs to be done. And my background is grassroots activism. So I know about I served on my township board and on my village board, and I know the attitudes of a town. I don't want my state telling me what to do. That's the attitude of a town. You're not from here, so how are you going to tell me what I want? That's the attitude of a town. And how do the counties have a voice in our state assemblies? I didn't see how that chain of custody or that chain of authority was being set up as we were restoring our government. Where does the county voice and its wishes translate in our state assembly governing, in our state assembly business? I still need to learn how that translation goes. Now, I thought at first that you have a deputy from your county assembly go to your state assembly. But then Anna said, well, deputies, if you pick 2 deputies, that's like them going to your Congress. Okay, I understand that, going to your Congress, and then that's how your voice is heard, but that's the United States Congress. So now I still need to know, how does the county assembly relate to the state assembly business? Do the county assembly have a voice in that state assembly business? Yes, Emalee?
I don't think it can work like that right now. and what I've experienced since 2019 is that the state has gotten so focused on the state, they forget that they don't have a quorum. They don't actually have assembled counties to make up the state. So until they go back out, which is why, I'm really into the county thing, is because until they go back out and they get engaged with their community, they're not going to have the state assembly. Now that we all kind of know each other, we all have somebody in every state that knows that this is happening, that can go out and do outreach. Now it's time to go back out and do that outreach on the county level, because that's where the people are being harmed as far as our courts go and the bond issues, because we have some very, very straightforward things that exist in their administrative law that protect people. And it's fun. It's fun in the county to go out and talk to everyone. As long as you're nice and you're representing yourself and your self-governed family unit as being peaceful, they don't even really look at it like the sovereign citizen thing doesn't come into play, because they don't look at you like that, because you're there as a people and you're engaging with your community, wherein somebody sends a notice from the state and they see it, they get a million notices a day. They see that and they go, oh, okay, well, here's somebody trying to engage us in conflict, but that's not what we're about. We're literally about peacekeeping. So they don't see it as a threat so much at the county level if you're able to go in and do it like that.
If you have that relationship already, because you live there, so you have relationships already. People know you.
May I?
Exactly.
Mhm. Who's may I? I don't.
Antonio. Antonio, North Carolina. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it's very important what you're talking about, where everybody's talking about. It goes back to the community and living on that state. Like I'm on North Carolina, and I've been on North Carolina for 44 years. So I'm in Johnston County. I was born in Wilson County, but I know a lot of people in 30 counties. So it starts with somebody that has leadership ability that can educate the people on the difference of a U.S. citizen and a non-U.S. citizen, how they got hijacked with the birth certificate. So it starts with the education, then it goes with the boots on the ground, then it goes with going to every county, someone that's been in that county, that was born in that county, to educate them and teach them what we are as ASNs. And then you come in and you be a leader to them, for them to be coordinators on their county, and then it's the domino effect from there. So it's kind of hard when people come in to our state for a year and a day, and they're not from here. So I always tell people, me as a co-coordinator, and I do boots on the ground. I'm not on the front street because I'm on boots on the ground, and I'm educating people first to pick my leaders out in each county of North Carolina, because we have 100 counties. So we start with the counties and then we move out, because I have been on both sides of the field. I have been incarcerated, and I have also been on the side of in corporate America since I've been home. So I know how to pretty much use my gift to get what I need to educate the right ones to come on board to help us out with this scenario. And these are the people you're looking for, because you got a person that's coming from corporate America trying to teach somebody that never's been there. But if you got somebody that got dual citizenship like me, I can come in and I can educate on both sides of the field. So these are the people that you want to look for, because these are the people that's going to educate and impact everybody. So now everybody know who they are. And then when it's time to educate the Leos, we know how to educate them, because we got people that's been there that can come in with us. And then you got people like myself that can come in and mediate for both, because I've been there, but now I changed, but this is where I'm at. Now I'm coming in with peace to help y'all to orchestrate, because we know that y'all are our employees, and we're trying to educate y'all to wake up in this status. So that's where you come. And with that, I yield.
Yeah, Antonio, thank you for that. Yeah, that is what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to launch this in the county by county. That's the strategy, county by county, or area of counties by area of counties. As the counties are being populated, those who want to serve in the state assembly, which you will find some, but organically, as the counties are being populated, or I shouldn't say, as the counties are being outreach to, and they're getting their declarations made, then that's the point in time you ask them, how do you want to serve? Do you want to serve on the county? Do you want to serve on the state? But if you're going county by county, I can see you're reaching more people because the boots are on the ground as opposed to trying to reach out randomly across the state to whoever you can reach. There has to be a systematic effort. And that's why I have it designed for county by county, and you work tour your way around your state. Now, it sounds like you all already did that. Emalee, is that right?
You know, we have and we haven't. I didn't have anybody like you back then. We didn't have your initiative to make this I mean, maybe you want to be my whiteboard guinea pig so that I
Okay.
could show you the way that it looks and feels to me. I've never done a whiteboard before, but I think that's the way I would present something like this.
Mhm.
Uh, so just be patient for a second. If you guys want to know like how I really feel and why I'm so excited to meet you and see your strengths and how they kind of link with my strengths.
Okay.
Okay, so let me try this.
Do you want
Whiteboard.
to screen share?
Yeah, okay, so we go new whiteboard.
I can
And it
stop.
says, okay. Whiteboard? Did I do it? We don't want a sticky note. All right, let's see this. Can you guys see my whiteboard?
Yep, you can see
All right,
it.
go. And we want a pencil of some sort. Yeah, I like this. All right. So this is the most powerful equation that I've ever seen in the metaphysical world. It's n squared, and it is the number of people harmonizing, obviously, to squared. So you got one person harmonizing within themselves, they're perfectly balanced, right? You got 1 squared, which equals 1. So if you have 2 people, obviously, if n equals 2, you got 2 squared, you got 4, which is 4 times the energy. That looks like a swastika. Anyway, you get the idea. So this whole n squared energy concept is that if we only have 4 people and we're all balanced within ourselves and we are operating in our self-governed capacity, that's 16 times the energy. You get the idea here? So when I hear you speak, Louise,
Synergy.
it literally motivates me, 4 times the energy. That's what builds energy. Literally. It's like E equals MC squared, consciousness. Energy equals mass consciousness to the speed of light. We could literally make this exponential to the point where we didn't have to worry about any kind of monetary value or any kind of fake money because that's what the creator intended for us. So the whole point was that when I go out in the community, and that's the hard part is going out in the community. During COVID, a lot of people got to closet themselves. And I think that attracted a lot of people to our state assemblies. And I'm not saying anything bad about the assemblies. If you literally are doing anything to help, then you're part of the solution, not the problem. I just want to make sure that we see this kind of thing exponentially. Because if you're not completely balanced, let's say you're only 5% self-governed, right? 0.5 squared is 0.25. And that's less energy than you started with, right? So that's where I see our state assemblies, and I see that as the number one weakness, that this is codependency. This means we need each other to survive. And if you're only producing the energy of one person between 2 people, that's where you gain that codependency. And so I want to see us do this and not this over here.
That's powerful, Emalee. You wind up with less energy than you started from.
That's where
Started with.
codependency exists.
Mhm.
Say if you're only half self-governed, if you aren't halfway there, you and one other self-governed person or halfway self-governed person are only producing the energy of one self-governed person or people, sorry, instead of, if you're coming with your whole heart, with all of, at your full capacity, and you find somebody else that's like that, now you're producing 4 times the energy. But if you're not self-governed and you're not coming from a place that the creator put you, now you've got negative energy. Like you've got not to say negative energy is bad or positive energy is bad. It's all energy, but you want to produce more energy going into a situation than you had when you got there. Like when you have a conversation, you talk, I talk, you talk, I talk, and we both walk away feeling empowered. You feel good, you float on air. if
Mhm.
you're not operating at your self-governing capacity, then you're gonna walk away with less energy. And so
Mm.
you tend to steal it from other people in ways that are not exponential
Yeah.
like this.
Mhm.
You can thank Yvonne Stein for that one. That's all him.
And so, and Emily, what state you're on again?
I'm on California
California, California. Okay.
for now.
Mhm. So that is this is exactly what I want to happen with bringing the Congress and trainings together. It's like every assembly, every county assembly, every state assembly is sovereign, right? So they can choose to participate or not choose to participate. So when we start these organizing people, well, those who want to participate will be the ones who want to put the boots on the ground, those who want to put forth the energy. So that's who I'm looking for. Like Antonio say, you have to look for those key people, those key leaders, and that can get us there much further than the ones who don't put forth enough energy to get us there, or those who's intentionally drawing the energy and sucking up the energy that's keeping us back. So I'm hoping to attract those people who want to put forth that energy and synergize with the other people who's putting forth the energy. Yeah, Emalee.
Oh no, go ahead. I didn't want to interrupt you.
Okay.
I'm just putting
All
it up. I'd love to hear what you have to say.
right. Okay. So yeah, I do think we need to, well, press as hard as we can to get all of our counties organized and together as the United States, and all the assemblies together as the United States of America. But of course, it's going to be only those in their sovereign selves who decide they want to participate, and that's perfectly fine. So I am trying to address any of the weaknesses that we have. So, and you have to be able, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem pointing out what my weaknesses are, or pointing out the weaknesses of an organization, because the reason I'm pointing it out is so that we can address it and strengthen ourselves, so that somebody else who don't have our best interests in heart don't take advantage of our weaknesses. All right. So going back, so if you have anything to add to this, you can email it to me. I'll add it to the list and we'll see what we can do about addressing it. So the next meeting I'm having with Anna is March 28th. If you want to attend, there is the link there for you to attend. So this one is going to be a little, it's going to be combined with the business meeting roundtable. And what that is, so what PKTF decided they wanted to ask Anna if she would participate in is a business meeting roundtable. And what that is all the international leaders out there who's leading international calls, any of the county assemblies who I have identified that wants to work with organizing the United States was invited. So those types of people are invited to this roundtable. And then our foreign state assemblies also were invited. And the reason we wanted to have these particular business meeting roundtables with our fiduciary is because a lot of us, well, not a lot of us, some of us are stagnated, like I was in the Resurgence Project, not having access to our fiduciary because I needed a question answered, or I need her to look at this and I need this edited. Well, foreign state assemblies having issues where they're stagnated because they need a particular confirmation. And some of the other leading leaders on the international field have things that's been going on and on for months that they need closure to. So that's what the reason that is the reason why we created this second meeting that we're going to have, called the business meeting roundtable with the fiduciary, with those specific people that were invited. Yes, Emalee.
Could you throw that in the chat if it wouldn't be too much trouble?
The link.
Yeah, you know me. I'm so bad with invitations and meeting links and things.
In the chat is this document.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, all the documents
Oh, I
that I'm
see.
referring to is in the chat. So
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Thank you.
So we're going to have the edits. I'm going to have the edit time with her, the time to edit the Resurgence Project components, the first hour, and then the second hour it's going to be for the business meeting roundtable. but that's just for this Friday. Next Friday might be different. So this is one way we're addressing some of the weaknesses. And then I already mentioned that I have 2 model counties. 2 counties that I've asked to be the model counties for the Resurgence Project, who have accepted. So the thing we're going to be focusing on is how to get those counties organized as the United States. And I mentioned one of the strategies or one of the ideas I have right now is the Congress in Training type of platform. But as well, one of the counties impressed me because they were doing the Resurgence Project without using the Resurgence material that hasn't been approved yet. So then going to their counties and speaking into their senators and local sheriffs and doing all of that on the ground, boots on the ground, without using our postcards or our brochures or anything. So that impressed me. And then she told me, well, I followed all the stuff that you were saying in the videos, and I just opened myself up to the inspiration from the creator to know how to implement this. And that's what I did. So she's going to be, that particular assembly is going to be one of my model counties. And I'm thinking about now having one of the states, seeing if there's a state assembly that will shine and show up as fitting what they're doing, fitting into what the Resurgence Project is trying to accomplish. And I think I have one in mind. So these are some of the things that I'm putting into place to address some of the weaknesses that I see and that I listed on that paper. Now I want to, yes, Emalee?
I have so much to share with you about what I've done since 2018. I'm not going to share it here just because I don't want to feel like I'm
well, we got to talk.
Girl, we got to
call
me. We just got to talk. You'll love some of the stuff that I've done, just, because what better way than to walk out your front door and try it?
Yeah.
So I got a lot of stuff that you will, and some good, you'll enjoy. So,
okay,
and I'll share it with everyone else. I just don't want to monopolize the time here because you're so efficient.
Yeah. Well, yeah, call me. Just call me. Okay. All right. So the next thing I want to highlight is the PKTF directorate, our approach to what we're going to be doing on our level, speaking to President Trump, the Department of State, Department of Justice, the FBI. Boyd already jumped out the gate and sent a letter to the FBI regarding one of the court cases that Arkansas is dealing with, and one of our nationals. So we're starting to, as a directorate, working on the top and with the top corporate officials to try to get the recognition at that level. And last meeting, I stopped at this point, and Joe wanted me to go more into this to know what roles will our directorate be playing in our strategies and our outreach mission. You can watch the last strategy task force 10 to get the full picture of how all this plays together. All these 4 things play together, but the parties that's going to be launching these aspects to this part is myself, Joe. Well, Joe is the executive director of the PKTF. Kathy is the assistant director of the PKTF. Bobby is our communications person. Boyd is the executive secretary, and I have an eye out for a deputy affiliate director that I haven't asked them, but I'm asking Joe for a deputy affiliate director to assist me. And these are the 5 people that's on the PKTF directorate. Now I'm going to be the strategist and support the American State Assemblies to launch their parts of the project. Yes, Emalee?
Sorry, and you're so quick. Could you just really quick fill in who Joe, when you're talking about Joe, just because there's just for David, who's on the call, that doesn't know who Joe is, and he's not familiar necessarily with the PKTF. So,
all right. So the PKTF is the arm of our federal federation who is responsible for spearheading the communication between all the state assemblies, all the foreign assemblies, and validating the state militias on every state, and things like that. And then I came aboard because of the outreach project that I wanted to do. So this is our website here, and the PK Peacekeeping Task Force is what PKTF stands for. It has four staff members on the directorate. We call it the directorate. It doesn't have a board. It is a corporation, a company, but it's unincorporated. It was chartered by the American government, the United States of America company. It was chartered by that company, along with the Continental Marshal Service was chartered by that company, our company. So that's how we fit into the Federation. And this company is directed by 4 people, which is myself as the affiliate director, Joe as the executive director, Kathy as the assistant director, and Boyd as the executive secretary. And to get an idea of what the Peacekeeping Task Force mission is, we want to be that United Nations. We want to be that for the world. That's what we're working toward. So in our capacities, there's 2 sides to the peacekeeping.
She overloaded on brilliance.
Keeping Task Force. There's an American side, and then there's the executive
brilliance.
side. Okay, there's the management side and there's the executive side that runs the company. The management side is me and Boyd. We manage the state assemblies and all the services that's out there for you all. The executive side runs the company, raises the money, and outreaches to the global world. They actually manage the foreign state assemblies and validate, their land and soil jurisdiction and networks with them. So that's what our two-sided roles are. So together, we're going to get the recognition for us as America's only government from the corporate heads and the global heads across the globe. That's what we are going to be working on up here, while you all got boots on the ground and working on the American people down here and getting our recognition from them. Yes, Emalee?
I'm gonna put you on the spot a little. So what is the difference? What is peacekeeping? Why not law enforcement?
You mean why not that name?
I mean, just don't we already have law enforcement? Why would we want to keep peace when we have law enforcement?
Are you asking why do we have the name Peacekeeping?
I just would literally want to hear just to point out the fact why, and he's extremely intelligent. You're extremely intelligent. We all know. I just that was the whole point of the Peacekeeping Task Force, and I just want him to really know who you are and what you're doing. That's all.
Okay.
Because I'm a jerk.
Okay. All right. So that's the Peacekeeping Task Force. Okay, and that's the directorate. These people here, and that's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be doing the strategy side and offering the support to the state assemblies in their reconstruction, and which includes our government being the foundation's county assemblies. I cannot separate those two like that in my mind. So that's why you'll see me reaching all the way down to the counties, and then here people say she's out of her jurisdiction. Well, I hear that even now. So and that's why I know I need to talk to Anna so we could get on the same page, because that's where I'm going. If I'm out of my jurisdiction, then show me what jurisdiction I need to be in, because this is what I want to do. This is what I want to focus on, is getting our government, which is the counties, assembled. So that's what I'll be doing.
Perfect.
And then we also talked about bringing in the networking with the other organizations who are self-governing. I'd say they're self-governing, but they don't know that they're in the wrong status to do this. So we need to network with them, and I'm giving Joe that assignment. He doesn't know it yet, but since he's the one responsible for the foreign nations and networking with them and getting those established, well, not established, but validating that they're the land and soil jurisdiction and in the right capacity and stuff. I just thought it'd be appropriate to have him responsible for the bringing in the networks with the cultural nations, the First Nations, the Native nations, and the other self-governing assemblies like RUSA, which is one name I've been hearing a lot about this last week, people informing me about. So different groups like that, building alliances with them and letting them know what the proper standing is and how they can help restoring their proper government. And so that's what Joe will be responsible for, building that network out even more. Then we have Kathy. She's gonna, I'm asking her to be responsible for the part where we need to nationalize the corporations, like Anna said. So we'll need to understand what that looks like. And then the one thing I told you in the last session is I think I want our fiduciary to go out in the public and tell the America that we're looking for new subcontractors. Why are we, and I went through, you'll have to look at the last video. I went through, why are we looking for new subcontractors? Because they're bankrupt. America understands that. So as we're telling America we're looking for new subcontractors, I'll assign to Kathy to accept all the applications for new contractors and all the complaints of the corporations who say, well, I didn't know that I was in this particular capacity, or that I was participating in this criminal monopoly of FRN credit theft. Because every corporation who's taking your money and not telling you they're using your credit, they're guilty of credit theft. So we have to iron that out and see what that looks like, and know how to execute a strategy to try to bring those corporations in and nationalize them in a way that they understand what's happening. So that's the job that I'm thinking of for Kathy. And then the radio communications, she's also involved with Bobby over here with our radios. If your assembly haven't gotten the radio yet, you need to go to our website and get your radio so we can communicate all on the same channels. You can communicate all on the same channel with everybody, or you can have your own channel for your own county assembly, your own channel for your state assembly, that type of thing. Own channel for your family. If your family have radios, you can have that type of channel. But that's what Bobby and Kathy are building out, our communication platform, which is one of the responsibilities of the PKTF, is building out a network for our communications, especially in times of natural disasters and things like that happen in Tennessee and Kentucky over there. Yeah, Richard got his radio. So Bobby and Kathy are responsible for it. They'll be building that out more and helping the assemblies get trained on them if they need, if you want more training about them and things like that. Then Boyd is our executive secretary. He's the retired chief, law enforcement chief. He's creating our training manuals. I asked him now to create a training manual specifically about sovereign citizens. Because one piece of information he gave us that they were using, that the FBI uses, and you'll see this in my last session 10 strategy task force meeting, is in their sovereign citizen guide. It defines sovereign citizen. It says sovereign citizen is a United States citizen who, well, they just told us that it's not us. It's them regulating their own citizens. So we have to train them to recognize who we are, separate from or opposed or up against what they are compared to who they are. So we can identify who's who. But they won't know until we train them. So he's going to I gave him assignment to put together a training for me on this note with all those elements that I talked about up here, all these different things on the right-hand side here should be in the training manual. This part right here is going to go in the training manual that I have him creating for me. But he also is creating other training manuals about constitutional law, and then sheriffs, constitutional sheriffs, and things like that. So, and I want him to connect with the CSPOA group and other militias and military people like that to start collaborating and creating networks with them, and rallying them around our Mission 2028, which we talked about that in the last strategy session too, Mission 2028. So that's what Boyd is going to be doing. And along with me doing a lot of communication back and forth between those corporate heads, like he's already sent out the letter to the FBI. So we're going to be sending out letters, he and I, communicating with them, trying to get a meeting with President Trump, meeting with the FBI, meeting with the Department of State, Department of Justice. So those type of people. With me, I don't see how we're going to get the recognition that's deserving until we build that relationship of who we are face to face. I don't see it happening in a letter. So I'm trying to work toward getting a meeting with these people. And just like I want the counties to work on getting a meeting in front of somebody's face in their communities that's claiming to run their government when they're only employees. So that type of thing, we got to build that relationship and get that respect as who we are. So that's all the people here. And then my deputy affiliate director, the one I'm thinking about asking, they have their systems, systems engineer. So they develop software and websites and things like that and coding. And then they also are knowledgeable in all 3 jurisdictions of law. So that person would help me with building the network of websites that you see that's laid out in the Resurgence Project. And that person will help me in developing the T strategy and the security capital strategies and all the edits to the documents, the documents that we'll be putting into the hands of the American people. That's the roles that I see we as the directorate taking to get this done at the top level. And as we're working here on the top level, and the state assembly is working right here on their level, and the county assembly is working down there on boots on the ground and all that, we're going to converge in the middle on all sides to bring this to fruition. Yes, Richard?
Thank you. I'm sorry. Could you explain the CSPOA? What is that exactly?
Oh, that's the constitutional sheriff. See, how does it? Constitutional sheriff. That's what Richard Mack, Sheriff Mack. I can't think what the constitutional sheriff, something association. I can't think of all the words, the acronym. But yeah, that's who I'm thinking about when the CSPOA.
Okay, thank you.
And I think that's the right CSPO. I think that's the right acronym. But who I'm talking about is Richard Mack and his organization and his efforts.
Thank you.
To bring constitutional law to the sheriffs, the county sheriffs. That was he working on. All right. All right. So the other thing that I was working on, that I'll give an update on right now, is I did ask 17 people to do a video presentation. Either they do the video presentation or get a meeting with me to do a presentation where I ask them the questions. So there's a list of questions that I said I gave to them for them to answer in this video presentation. The update on that is I got one presentation back, and I don't have any other responses back that ask. Well, I have one person who wants to do the presentation with me asking the question, so I have to set that up. And then we have a third person who is working on it themselves but haven't gotten it done. And just to update you, the new people here on what I'm talking about is I thought it would be resourceful to have for the state assemblies 2 types of trainings. One type of training was just to train the state assemblies on how to launch the project. And I did four modules to that training, which is, you'll see on the other, our other strategy task force sessions. They're on the YouTube channel. Here, let me show you. We have YouTube. This is, so the strategy task force and the International Outreach Think Tank work together on this project. The International Outreach Think Tank, this is our YouTube channel where all the planning on the side of the International Outreach Think Tank goes. And then the Peacekeeping Task Force also have their YouTube channel where all the planning of the peacekeepers goes. So on here, this platform, this is the training that I put together for the state assemblies to know how to launch the project. So from the introduction of the project to the initial launch of the project are the 4 modules I put in this particular training. The other ones are to come after I finish getting some clarification and some edits done with Anna. I'll do the teeth strategy, which is the public meetings on modules to continue on the launch phases to the project. Now, that was for the training for the assemblies. The other training that I thought would be helpful was for me to create a training series I call the advisory video series. And I call it advisory video series because it's selected people that I chose to speak on certain topics that I think would be helpful and insightful for the assemblies to glean from, to get some more inspiration from and more direction on how they should launch or even conceive or what I want to say, process some of the concepts in the Resurgence Project that they're not quite sure why I'm even doing that part. One is, well, why am I doing a county tour? Maybe they don't understand the importance of that. Or they might think that that's too dangerous. We can't do that. So I selected certain people to do a video presentation on the tours that they actually did and how that went. How did they deal with security? That type of thing. Yes, Emalee?
I had to run out. My car alarm was going off. That's why the video platform. And you've done such a wonderful job doing it without a video platform, but it would be a secure storage for all kinds of things of that nature to be stored. And bond audits. I don't know if any of you have ever done bond audits, but they're really fun at the
So
county
explain
courthouse.
what's a bond audit?
So a bond audit is when you go into the county courthouse with no particular business, but it's kind of to counteract, and not that there's anything wrong with him, but his approach is very unpeaceful. The First Amendment auditor, who I would actually kind of consider to be a sovereign citizen, kind of just his approach, just to go into a courthouse and say, hey, I'm here, I'm one of the people in your county, and I'm just checking to make sure that you guys have all of your official documents in place, that you're operating, in the right capacity, that you're protected, because they do not know. I've done it in 28 different counties, just the initial bond audit, to make sure they have an oath and a bond. They're all under the impression that they are covered under the risk management pool that handles their county, and that is just not the case. That does not protect the actual people working at the county. It might protect the judges, it might protect the higher ups, but they don't even really know. They just know that they were appointed or they were this or they were that, but it just turns that narrative, we all do this research and we're at home doing this research, but it turns it into a conversation, because I've been researching you all day. I'm going to come into your office now and I'm going to tell you what I learned so that you can learn, so that we can both learn, because an office is actually by their own law vacated if they don't have that oath and bond. And it's not an oath of appointment, and it's not a bond for their good behavior. It's literally their oath to uphold the Constitution and their bond that backs it up. It's a different jurisdiction. And they don't know that. They don't even really know what their status is as far as the risk pool goes, because if they have to reinsure, like if a sheriff or one of his deputies violates somebody's constitutional rights, even just a US citizen, and that US citizen is able to go through with the whole process of filing against him, he has to pay 10 times
Mm.
the original amount that he would have had to pay. Like if he has to reinsure to self-insure, which is ridiculous. You can't do that on a cop's salary. And they won't even tell him any of that. They won't let him know that he's part of the risk pool. They don't tell him that he needs that oath to the Constitution. They don't tell him what his bond insurance is going to cost if he violates somebody's rights. And pretty much once you tell them that, they're like, oh, well, what else do you know? What else do
Yeah,
you
we
have to
could
talk
use
to me about?
that, I think. I can already.
Yeah.
So the way I work here, Emalee, is when you all talk to me, tell me your ideas and what you all are doing, I get this inspiration. Oh, I know where that fits. So I'm thinking about already. Yeah. Where that fits. Yes, Richard. Mm.
Thank you once again. Emalee, I want to understand that process better because that sounds like that is something very fun to do. I yield.
So Emalee, once you all finished the bond audit or went to the courthouse and did the bond audit, what do you do next?
You know, it depends how the first initial reaction goes. And I was not video documenting any of these things. I typically do record, but I think it's rude to go into somebody's place of work. You know, like I like to go in and say, hey, I'm a member of the public. I do have a right to record, just like you have a right to record, because you have no reasonable expectation of privacy if you're in a public office. And just kind of turn it into a conversation. Like I'm not here for a purpose, but it just, you see how it goes. Some people will just shut down and they will go in the back room and get their whoever they've got back there. Like that's what they're trained to do because they can't give legal advice. I would never ask somebody working at the courthouse for legal advice. Like that's the last place I'm going to go for something like that. I'm just literally here checking out as a member of the public, like what you guys are up to. Make sure you're all, you know, you have all of your paperwork in order because that's what they need to be protected from us when we have to do things like that. I don't know if you guys have seen the First Amendment auditor, but he literally like walks up in somewhere with a camera and just stands there and records. Like, I don't know how you guys would feel, but I would not like somebody coming in my place of business and doing that to me. You know, these people don't know that, you know, that they have no reasonable expectation of privacy. And he just stands there. And a lot of people watch. I mean, he's got, I don't know how many viewers on YouTube. And it bothers me because that's rude. Like, I don't care if they're a public servant or not. You don't just go put a camera in somebody's face for no reason. You're not even there for a reason. You know, if you had business there and you were recording for your own protection, that's different, you know, and you should be, because if you can do it nicely and you can get results, you know, now you just made a friend. They're going to remember you. You volunteer at their career fair. They come to your town hall. They're your peacekeeping officials. They're not your law enforcement. They start becoming what you need them to be without actually ever bringing up the sovereign citizen thing at all, because they've never seen that side of it. They don't know, like, you know, walk into the courthouse and bring all the girls flowers at the clerk's office. They love it. They don't ever get flowers. DMB, they don't ever get flowers. They love it. You know, and now you've turned that narrative into a conversation. So you're not internalizing sitting on a computer at home for hours and hours and hours. You're actually getting out and doing something and you can run it by people. I love the DMV. The DMV is the best. They all want to know what I'm talking about always when I go into the DMV. But I brought them flowers, so they remember me from last month. You know, it's not them that are taking my registration or requiring a license. It's them that have the administrative role of doing so, but that's our administrator. We put them in charge. You know, they're our employees. You know, employees like flowers every now and then. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, yeah. That's an
So
interesting approach.
I just think it's fun. And you get, you know, like I got my car impounded. The one thing I do know how to do, I still haven't successfully pulled off the whole getting, you know, compensated for the harm that was caused. But the first thing that happens is the officer gets fired. They're not going to be working anymore because they know me and they know that I'm not going to let it continue. And I always give them every chance they have because they, you know, they don't impound my car all the time, but I drove without license plates for, you know, 10 years. It got a little expensive at times. Now I know how to do it better. But the one thing that would always happen is the jerk that insisted on impounding the car loses his job.
Mm, mhm,
And I don't like that.
mhm.
And then his higher up, my favorite quote from a CHP officer, California Highway Patrol, I know what you're trying to do. I'm just not going to help you. I don't want to hear about it. Let's see. I know what you're trying to do. I don't care. I'm not going to help you, and I don't want to hear about it. He doesn't work there anymore, but it was a pretty good
When you say the
statement.
First
First
Amendment
Amendment auditor.
auditor, is that a YouTube channel?
Yeah, he's a guy
Oh.
on YouTube that goes around to different courthouses and things and just videos. He's protecting his First
Oh,
Amendment
okay.
right to video things, but
Mhm,
he doesn't have a reason to be there,
mhm, mhm,
And so this is one of the social faces of the sovereign citizen thing, is that
okay.
if you don't have a reason to be there, don't go there with a camera and shove it in somebody's face. It's just rude.
Mhm, mhm,
You wouldn't want somebody to do that to you, so don't do it to them. But if you go in, I'm not going to walk in with a video camera and put it in somebody's face. I'm going to go in and say, hey, I'm checking on you guys. So I just want to know, it's been a long time since we talked.
mhm.
Are you protected? Do you know why you're here? Do you know who you work for? And
Mm,
they'll end up asking the questions that you want them to have the answers to, because
mhm,
they're just people too.
okay. So have you had to use the information that you gathered from them not having the bond? Were you needing to use that in a case or anything?
I have never proceeded to the point where I push where I go to a higher court and have them removed from office. No. I've got
Do
a
you,
lot of data that says that I can do it, but that's not really what I'm interested in, because it is a function of their law. The public officer, I actually saved it in here, but it's on my screen right now. I don't know. It's automatically vacated. If there's no oath and no bond sitting atop an oath, their office is actually vacated by function of law.
Mhm.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah, we can
And
use
there's
that.
nothing they can do to get that back. They can't appeal to the Supreme Court because they didn't have it within the 30-day time that they
Oh.
needed to have it.
Mhm. Have you heard about the group that does the bond for the win?
Yeah, I have. And Antonio in North Carolina this is what he's working on. And we've been talking lately about the dream team, because it's important to start getting, some people protected. It's really dangerous. Like, I laugh about it like it's fun and games. It's not fun and games. I just approach it that way because I want everybody to be safe. But he gets more into the actual harm that's being caused. Like, I don't think it's fun. I don't think it's a game. There's a lot of people being severely harmed. Leonard Peltier has been sitting in prison for the FBI arresting him for something they know he didn't do. And he even did his time, and he's still sitting there because his bonds have not been released.
Hmm.
So I know how serious it is. And the Antonio is more, that's his part in the whole bond thing. So
Antonio?
Hey, yeah, it's more of we gotta, from all my studies and research, doing my own research and my own due diligence, and the comprehending the bonds on the penal sum. Like every time somebody get a charge, they're discharging your trust, right? So you got to know how to separate the two. Your all capital name that the government took from you is just a transmitted utility. Where I see us on as American state nationals, we don't know how to separate the two. We operating on the private side, but we also have to continue to operate in the all capital name. So when we get pulled over by a policy officer, we don't know how to discharge that debt. And the only way that you're going to discharge that debt is basically through your UCC1 financing, right? You got to comprehend that literature. And then every time that you get a count, what the state is doing, selling the bonds to the federal government, and the government put them on the stock exchange. And that's where we miss it at as ASNs. So what I'm doing my research, and I'm also doing processes. I'm not going to speak about it right now. But what I'm saying is that's the key. Always remember that, to separate the business from the living man and woman. And once you comprehend that literature, you could be a free American. You could ride here in your automobile and the right to travel, because you're going to have the right particular um, information to help you in the courts. Because me personally, I don't go into the courts. It's a transmitted utility. So you send it to the clerical court with the right paperwork, and they'll discharge debt for you if you have your UCC1 in the right capacity of where it needs to be and send it to the right places. So once I finish this particular process, what I'm doing, because I got a brother that's in the federal prison that we're going to get out based off, because it ain't nothing but, and at the end of the day, it's about accounting. And once you comprehend it's about accounting, you don't have no reason to go back and forth with your employees because they don't know who they are. So you ever get pulled over by, it's always to be at peace and be quiet and let them do what they're going to do. And at the end of the day, you know what you need to do as your administrative process. So the process that I'm doing on North Carolina is helping North Carolina ASNs comprehend who they are. That's the first thing. And we have to know how to separate the two. And that comes with education, showing them what I did and showing them how to do it themselves so it can spread like wildfires. So this particular thing that I'm doing now, I'm at the end of it. And when I finish it, I will get with you, Louise and Emalee, and I'll bring it to the head, and then we'll be able to help everybody else on the other assemblies. Because I always get a lot of calls. I'm always quiet because I have to listen first, because that's how the creator taught me. I listen first and I keep listening and I keep listening and I keep listening and I keep listening. And then the universe say, you know what? It's your time. And so this is the season for me not to be quiet anymore. So with that, I yield.
Are you familiar with the international litigation call? Have you been on the international litigation call with Doug and Christy?
Absolutely. Yes, I've been up there a couple of times and I listen to them with the they always talk about the true bill and all that. Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, we not going deeper because we missing pieces. And when you're missing pieces, you're gonna always be getting kidnapped because you're missing the pieces. So I'm putting together the pieces that we are missing, and I'm also actually walking it out. I'm not just doing it just to be doing it. I'm walking it out. I'm going through whatever we got it through. I got a couple of guys on North Carolina that went through court cases. We got them dismissed. We just ain't came out with the results yet. Just because we running the play. You got to run the play. And when you run the play, then we got results that nobody can't say, well, where'd you get this off YouTube? No. This right here is the process that we done, and we got actual paperwork. You know, so that's what I'm working on. And that's why I'm on this call. And this is why this is the season that we all need to get together. And what you're doing is, I love it, Louise, because this is what we need. We need boots on the ground. We also need a stronger foundation. Once the foundation is strong, and then you have somebody on a county or a state, that's why I stepped as a coordinator, because I felt like North Carolina wasn't getting what we needed at the time. You know, so I felt like I needed to stand up as a ASN and become as a co-coordinator, because a lot of things before I came into the Anna, up under Anna, that I already did my research. I already did a lot of things outside of the assembly. So it's like, okay, I'm ready to come in, put my boots on the ground, get some soldiers, and let's move it and let's walk it out. Because if I happen to go to Mississippi or I happen to go to Cali, I need to have my people in line that talking the way I'm talking. I don't need to go to California and they over there don't know how to stand on business. Then they're not no help to me because they ain't set the foundation right. So that's what it's all about. So what you're doing is great. And this is what we need in this season. So yeah, I'm working on everything and everything is coming out real well. So when I get everything in black and white, I'll be ready to share.
All right, we'll be ready to hear too. Okay. So the last thing I got is just to update you on the fact that we have the question and answer opportunities come here. You can, the assemblies can come. Did I finish? Wait a minute, let me finish the update. Let me finish the update on the training modules. So the other training modules that I thought would be helpful would be the training modules that I call advisory training modules. Those I'm still working on. I wanted to have those done by March 31st. That's not gonna happen, but I'm still working on it. And like I said, I have one already done. Somebody did it themselves and sent it to me. Then I have one person confirmed that they're working. No, two people confirmed that they're working on theirs. And one person I have to call back and actually schedule a time to a Zoom meeting with them to like do an interview style. The other people I haven't got an update on them yet, but that's the other training series that I want to do for the benefit of the state assemblies, to get some insight on what the other people are firsthand experience that they have on the topics that I chose that is relative or related to the different components of the resurgence project. So that's the update on that one. And then the last thing then is the Q&A is what I wanted to mention. We're getting to the point now where all the pieces that are needed are in the project. And so we'll be moving to the phase where we're just waiting to launch the project, but as the assemblies are getting prepared, all their pieces prepared, their brochures, their identifying what location that they're going to be going to have their public meetings. And as each assembly that's going to be participating is getting their things lined up, they may need to ask some questions. So the strategy task force will be a place for any assembly to come and ask questions. And the international outreach think tank meetings will be a place where anybody can come and ask questions and compare notes. The last meeting we had at the international outreach think tank call was a good call for Q&A, because we talked about tracking your progress and your outreach strategies. That was a good call. So those are the types of meetings we'll be shifting into as I'm finalizing things here with Anna and not adding any more, just finalizing and fine tuning. We'll be shifting into those types of conversations and meetings. Yes, Emalee?
I think now is the appropriate time. So I just wanted to introduce you to one of my mentors who is brilliant. He knows everything that we know, except he knows nothing about us and he knows nothing about Anna. And I'm hoping that he'll introduce himself and give us a completely outside look at what we're doing. Today's the first day that he's been in any, that I've been like, see, this is what I do. This is who I am and this is what I work on. So David, would you mind? Are you there? I don't know if he's there. Man.
He's not here. Or maybe he doesn't.
Yeah,
want to
I
say
see him
anything.
on there, but I don't know if he's listening or not. Like,
Mhm.
I do hope he is, but he's a pretty busy guy.
Ah,
And I'm not
Yeah.
going to introduce him because I don't even know how I would begin. But he's a pretty amazing person. And I think he's a very key part of this entire puzzle that we want involved.
David, can you hear us? No. Well, he's gonna have to introduce himself next time.
Yeah.
We're
All right.
down to 5:30, and I appreciate you all spending your time with me during the strategy task session. I can always depend on Richard to be here. If nobody else is here, Richard is here. We can have a good conversation and strategize, just me and him. But everybody do take a look at the replays, and then they're chatting with me back and forth through the week, saying I think this and I think that, and we just go back and forth debating on things. So that's how things work here. So if you're not able to make the meetings, I send out the replay. Usually I'll send it out later tonight. I try to get it out to everybody as soon as I can, and then all the documents that we went over. Yes, Richard?
Thank you. That is one thing I do want to comment on is, yes, the interactions that come with the emails, because I know like a lot of times Rave Richardson comments on my meetings and stuff, but I don't hardly ever see her in a meeting. So I know that she's watching the replays, but she is definitely involved in what's going on. Thank you again. I yield.
Thank you. So let's see, our next meeting, oops, wrong thing, hold on. Our next meeting, let me stop screen share, is, so the April 6th would be the next meeting, same time. And any other questions or any comments before we leave?
Thank you for hosting.
You are welcome, and thank you for being here. You all have a good night, okay?
Thank you both so much, and all of
All
you
right.
so much.
And give me a call, Emalee,
I will.
tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
Tomorrow's good.
You all
I'll
have
be
a good
I'll be
night.
in Mexico by then.
Oh, well, when you have a chance, okay?
I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay.
bye.
All right then. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good night, everybody. Yep.